live here. Double check that we are out here on YouTube. That's always takes just a second to get out there. So we'll let that go through. Yeah. I went to bed, so I didn't see. All right, we're out. I went to bed, so I didn't see the end of that Houston game where they ended up winning in the Final Four. So that's exciting.
I loved Houston yesterday, but I was like, I didn't even have the energy to bet it. I was just like, whatever. So of course they came back and covered and won straight up.
Yeah, my brother he and his friends did one of those Calcutta auction drafts. So he was mad at them because he wasn't there, and they bid on they paid more for Florida than what Houston went for, because Houston went early and everybody didn't want to spend their money on it. Right. So they ended up paying like 30% more, and he was so mad. And now, of course, those are the two teams that are in the finals. So he has a chance because each round you get more money. So
yeah, interesting. Fun.
Yeah, let's see. Giannis is doubtful. We're getting news for the NBA. Boston, of course, is sitting people because they had a ridiculous 20-point advantage on the Wizards. So we'll have that information there. I see Malakar congratulating me on a win. Did I win something in baseball today? Because I didn't think I did. I think some of those slates are still going there. I actually had an okay night last night, but it was mostly on NBA. So nothing crazy. Michael Henry said, did I see Haney coming? No, not to the extent he did, but I think that was a good matchup and he was just getting overlooked. That's as we let the news collect and everything, that's just to wrap up our baseball thoughts. That's one thing that I think I've been sloppy on this year. And that's because we've got multiple sports going on. Am I being an idiot by playing multiple sites? I haven't been as cognizant as I would like to be about allocating certain pitchers. So like Haney would be a great example. Like today I was excited that the weather was okay in Washington, so I was going to Burns, but then I was probably around the field with 3 or 4% Haney. So that's kind of an oversight. I need to get better with my pitching. That's usually one of my strong suits, and I've just been in the wrong the whole time. So oh, yes, FanDuel. I had an okay night on FanDuel last night. Nothing crazy. All right, so we know that there's going to be a lot of news. There's 4 games locking at 6 o'clock, so we're not going to go game by game today. We're going to essentially react to the news. We're going to go by position here, give our thoughts, and already we have news coming in fast and furious. So we'll let that percolate just a little bit here. Let me get up my official news feed because we're gonna not going to be lacking for value here. What do you think Jokic ends up being? I think he's 12-7 on both sides. 50% tonight since there's no Giannis to spend on.
I mean, at least, because not only is there no Giannis, but there's a ton of value now.
Yeah. All right. So Kristaps Porzingis out. Jason Tatum out. What else do we have? Giannis doubtful. We aren't really expecting him to play. We had to keep him in the projections because there was really no update, but he played around 40 or 43 minutes last night in that overtime game. He had a phenomenal triple-double, ended up leading the Bucks to victory. So not a surprise that he's out. We also see Pat Connaughton get a bit of a downgrade. He'd been sort of out of the rotation, so he could have some sort of minor injury. That's not really a huge thing for us, but we're going to kind of want to see, because if Giannis is out, 2 schools of thought here. Could the team still win this game without them? Because they are going against a New Orleans team that just doesn't really have a whole lot to play for, and their top 8 players are all out, well, except for Jose Alvarado. Let's see if the spread changed. So Milwaukee's still favored by between 4.5 and 6, depending on the sites you're looking at. So the question then becomes, is Lopez going to play? He just turned 37 earlier this week. What's going to happen with Kuzma? Do they rest everybody? They have one more game against New Orleans, and they're really the only thing they're playing for is kind of to position themselves for seeding. As long as they win, I think their magic number is like 2 or 2.5 to not fall into the play-in tournament. That should be accomplished. But yeah, this is going to be fun. So let's hit the injuries that we know. So starting with that final game, that's where all of the fun's going to be. So we're not expecting Giannis to play. That's not official yet. Jose Alvarado, also questionable. He's dealing with the sore right calf. Jordan Hawkins has been ruled out. He's got I think he has a sore back. And then Kelly Olynyk is out. And we also know Zion is shut down for the season. CJ McCollum shut down for the season. Trey Murphy is injured and done. DeJounte Murray, obviously. So there's a lot of talent just not even available. For Houston, Jabari Smith is questionable. So he's coming off the bench. But if he doesn't play, that's a kind of a rough matchup on both sides because Golden State's defense was actually not bad this season. It's gotten better with Jimmy Butler. Houston's got a good defense. So nothing overly exciting in that game. Pascal Siakam has been ruled out. That bodes well for probably Obi Toppin. We don't know if he's going to start. Conceivably, they could start Mathurin if they wanted to. It sort of depends what Denver's going to do. Denver has Jamal Murray questionable. I think he's missed 4 or 5 games with his hamstring issue. I kind of don't think he's going to play tonight. You have Jalen Brunson and Miles McBride questionable. Did Brunson play yesterday? That was an early slate game against Atlanta. Let's see. Brunson did not play yesterday. So he was questionable yesterday as well. He is close to a return. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Washington, cast of thousands are out. Important things to note. No Chris Middleton, no Tristan Vukcevic, no Rashawn Holmes, but they don't have to foist minutes on anybody, and they're certainly not going to run Alexander Sarr into the ground. In addition to Porzingis and Tatum being out, Jaylen Brown is questionable. What else do we have? Keegan Murray is questionable. Ty Jerome making a return for your Cleveland Cavaliers.
Good to see.
Denny Abdia is out. Timoni Kamara is questionable. Jeremy Grant, Scoot Henderson, Dwap Reith, and are all out. Anthony Simons, game time decision. So these are all the moving parts here. Good times. Good times. Let's take a peek here and just give some thoughts based upon what we have sort of by position, and then we'll react as the news comes in here, Matt. But surveying the landscape, this is going to be an S show tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, pretty loaded injury report with guys that are out, guys that could be out.
Who is the Ja Morant of the night who gets scratched moments before lock? That's the real question.
Yeah, I mean, your guess is as good as mine, but wouldn't be shocked if we see something like that. That's late season NBA for you. Yeah, I feel like the Portland, like finding out about Simons is pretty big now that we know Denny's out. He's getting a ton of ownership. Yeah,
the trickle down there, I mean, is going to be with Shaedon Sharpe, and we already have him at optimal 40% of the time. It keeps Delano Banton in the picture yet again. Could he score 20 points for a third consecutive game? Maybe. And Portland's actually trying. They kind of wanted to push to see if they could get into the play-in tournament here. So it's not like they're giving up. They just have legitimately injured people. Well, except for DeAndre, who just doesn't want to play basketball anymore. But and any other trickle down, if Simons is out, what else do you see from Portland there?
I mean, then it's Delano Banton season, right? Like,
yeah,
he's going to start. He's going to project really well. You're going to just play Delonte Banton. Yeah, I mean, the trickle down effect is real there though, because then all of a sudden, no Denny, no Simons, Banton, and Sharpe. Sharpe already, as you alluded to, looks really, really good here. He would just look that much better. Simons himself, like that's the other big thing about it is if Simons is in, he looks like one of, you could make the case he's the best play on the slate at his tag with no Denny. So yeah, that news is pretty important.
It's going to be the lucky fan from section 117 is going to be signing a one-day contract here. You know, there's no emergency, like there's the emergency goalie in hockey where they have basically on standby, somebody kind of in the region that was a former college player or a minor league player. And then if needed, teams can sign them because that's crucial. And I think the last time somebody, there's a great highlight clip on YouTube. So one of the guys, he was like the Zamboni driver or something like that in one of the things. And one of the teams had to sign him so he could play. But that, we don't have the equivalent of that in baseball or basketball here. All right. Projected starting lineups. Nightbot's putting that out there. That's one of the nice tools that we do have that is free for everybody. It also has notes there of what the projection team is thinking and how they're looking at handling certain situations. So that is fun to see there. In this run here, sorting by the popularity, Kevin Porter Jr. is all of a sudden looking like he's going to be on 90% of DraftKings lineups, Matt. He played a ton of minutes last night, almost had a triple-double himself. It was Ryan Rollins who got into foul trouble. He had 4 fouls. And then it was Giannis and Porter Jr. that kind of carried the team for the rest of the night there. How are you feeling about KPJ?
Yeah, I mean, KPJ looks like an elite play on this slate. I don't think there's any question about that. Like, when I like KPJ, we've talked about him a bunch, him and compared to Rollins. I always like him more than Rollins. Rollins, when Dame is out and Giannis is in and Rollins is starting, which we've seen a bunch this year, Rollins is the safer play because he's starting and he's going to play more minutes. But when Giannis is out, and we've seen a couple times this year, and KPJ also starts, like, he's the smash play. He's a better fantasy producer. When Giannis and Dame are both out, they need offense. They need playmaking. He's someone who can shoulder a lot of that load. So I think KPJ is a priority play at 4,200. I mean, he projects for 27 fantasy points. Him and Gary Trent. Like, Gary Trent isn't going to handle the ball like KPJ, but they're going to need scoring, and he's a guy that can provide that. So I think both those guys look like priorities.
Yeah, the only slight nervousness is that he played a lot of minutes last night with 40. We'll see if we get the starting lineup or we get more people ruled out in addition to Giannis, who we expect to see ruled out at some point here, who was downgraded to doubtful. Then we know that the team might be punting. Then we're going to have to go deeper into the rotation. It's too hard to start speculating on that at this point because, at that point there'd be no Giannis, obviously no Bobby Porter. He's got, I think, 1 or 2 more games left on his suspension. They would probably sit Kuzma and Lopez. At that point, all of a sudden you're bringing KPJ back into we've got 8 guys, 9 guys. You're going to be one of them here. So I don't know. Trae Young is now our other spend up option, 10,200 on DraftKings, 9,500 on FanDuel. You've got Atlanta looking to win here so they can stay ahead of Chicago. They also have a chance to catch Orlando here, which would allow them to host the first game of the play-in tournament. If they are able to stay ahead of Chicago and Miami, they would at least get a mulligan. They'd play on the road in Orlando, but then if they lost, they would still get to take on the winner of the other play-in game. So they're definitely playing tonight, but you've got Utah not really trying here. How are you feeling about Trae Young? How are you feeling about Dyson Daniels, the Great Barrier Thief, etc.?
Yeah. I think Trae Young looks good here. Like, you got to spend your money somewhere. He's not overly expensive. He's not cheap for who he is. I mean, he projects good at 10-2, nothing crazy, but it's a byproduct of the slate now with, Jokic and then Trae Young. And Jokic, as we talked about a little bit earlier, he's really, really expensive. And there's a lot of value on this slate, but not a lot of like 3K value. So Trae Young, obviously a lot easier to get to. You can certainly play both of them together. I don't have any strong takes about Trae here, just that he's like a good play. Optimum percentage and ownership, about even. He's slightly over-owned, but that's just, again, a byproduct of not having too many spend-up options. So I'm totally fine with Trae here.
Sure. Another, like, kind of the counter move to Trey would be Tyrese Halliburton. No Pascal Siakam tonight. That could mean more offense there for Hallie. He is, they're going to be in Denver. Denver, of course, trying to win. With Indiana, it's Indiana and Milwaukee are kind of the hard. It's like, okay, they're more or less kind of where they're going to be in the playoffs. So it's hard to fully understand their motivation. Like, even last night, you were like, why are they running Giannis into the ground? Because they were behind for a lot of that game. Giannis's heavy minutes have been a little crazy because there's not that much upside here with them ensconced in the making the actual playoffs, the top 6 seeds. So trying to understand some of these motivations is hard. Looking at some of the teams, most teams have 5 games left. Some of them have easy gimmies. So you think between over the next 3 days, today, Monday, there's only 2 games. And then Tuesday, you may see teams just punt a game because it's like, all right, this is the tough matchup, but we're taking on Houston, Utah, Toronto, the Wizards, Philadelphia, right? One of the many tanking teams. They may just choose to go after the win there if they only need to get a couple. It just, everything gets a little tricky with all of this. And I agree. I see John Princess saying the Bucks probably want the 5th seed, not the 6th seed. Agreed. But at the, don't you want Giannis healthy, refreshed coming into the playoffs? He's not exactly a spring chicken anymore here. Anything else on the guards here? Do you have thoughts on Halliburton?
No, but to your point, that is a reason I think KPJ is a must going back to Milwaukee because, yeah, they do want the 5th seed, but I just think they're going to let him play. I mean, we'll see what happens with Dame as far as him coming back for the playoffs, but I think KPJ is a guy, again, when both those guys are out, they're going to let him run the offense. Yeah, as far as Halliburton goes, I think he just is a nice contrarian play on this slate. His price tag is decently high. His projection isn't amazing, but there aren't that many like pivots off of a Trae Young. He's one of them. He's $1,000 cheaper. He helps you get up, elsewhere. So I got no problems with a Halliburton pivot off of Trae Young, knowing that Young projects better and he's owned, he's higher owned for a reason.
All right. Looks like Jaylen Brown is going to play tonight. Let's kind of switch over to shooting guard here. Stefan Castle is a guy we didn't really hit on at point guard. Same thing with Derek White, not having Porzingis and Tatum, should help have more scoring go around. I mean, doesn't this feel like a game where I think we've seen this one before? Pritchard and White just each hit 6 or 7 threes in the first half against the Wizards. And God, I don't know what to do. What do you see any value in Boston now that we know it's Brown that's going to be playing? Do you like him? Do you like White? Do you like Pritchard?
I don't love those guys. I want to go back to point guard real quick, just because I think there's 2 value guys that are going to go overlooked. We just overlooked them, and they're going to go overlooked on this slate. And that's TJ McConnell and Elf Payton. We've talked about Elf a lot. I got a soft spot in my heart for him. He's definitely more of a GPP play. McConnell projects well. He's got a 9% chance of being optimal, only 4.5% ownership. I like plays. He's one of the most leveraged plays on the slate. Good value. He's cheap for his production. I like him as like a contrarian spend down option off of some of the chalk that's clear, that's, standing out because it looks good. And then Elf, even more of a contrarian play. Lower floor, probably higher ceiling than McConnell. Projects slightly worse, but is slightly cheaper. So I like both of them here. I mean, he's another guy with a ton of leverage. 7% chance of being optimal, 2% ownership. Like, give me guys like that to fill out my lineup all day.
Yeah, the one thing I have, and I've had this conversation before, I have hesitation with McConnell because he doesn't really play over 20 minutes. And so he needs to get there on efficiency. But then you start looking at his metronome-like consistency on his box scores. 4 of 6, 4 of 6, 4 of 10, 6 of 7, 5 of 7, 5 of 10, 4 of 5, right? So he's going to get around 10 points His rebounds and assists the last few games, 9 and 8, 1 and 3, 2 and 4, 4 and 7, 4 and 7. So he's going to get around 8 combined rebounds and assists. He's usually good for a steal. It's okay, but I think I'd rather roll the dice with something in the New Orleans game.
That's fair, and I get that. I guess my counter would be there's no real counter.
Yeah, you said we gotta do battle. You said you disagree with some of us. This is what makes it fun, right?
The last one was about McConnell too. The last time I think I went at you. I can't remember who you were.
It's familiar. Come on, I think I have the score. Not so much here, not so much here. Right here.
All right, I'm gonna be nice here. So really, there is no arguing your point because it's true. Like his upside is capped because he doesn't play a ton of minutes, but his price tag is low enough now where I don't think you need that many minutes. So at 4K, I think he can get there. Again, I don't think he's a must play or anything. I just think he's a contrarian pivot. Sure. If you've got like a lineup full of all popular guys, that's all he is.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Johnny Juzang is also the other guy that's coming in rather cheap. 4,000 on DK, shooting guard, small forward, eligible. He kind of fits everywhere. It looks like he's only coming in at 9%. He was higher than that this morning, but of course things changed dramatically here. What else do you like from the guards? Because Juzang is like kind of the one Utah guy that stands out on DraftKings. There's more that show up on FanDuel.
Yeah. So I think your Stephon Castle call. He's probably the best shooting guard play on this slate. He projected really well for 7,400, 40 fantasy points. So I think he's probably, he might be a priority play on this slate just overall, but he's certainly the best shooting guard option in my eyes. If you're not going to him, I kind of like the idea of spending down on AJ Green, 3,500. He's sporadic, low floor, not a high ceiling, but at 3,500, he can pay off that tag for sure. And then shade on Sharp, like especially if Simons is out, even if Simons is in, he projects for over 40 fantasy points. His price tag is up, but deservedly so. And then I guess you could look at the Washington guys like Bub Carrington and Champagnie. I'm not excited about those guys though. Tags are up. Well, I meant Champagnie from the Spurs. Sorry, not Champagnie from the Wizards, but
brothers.
Yeah, brothers. Shooting guard is not that strong. I think Castle is the clear best play with Simons, or not Simons. Simons, yeah, but with Sharp emerging if Simons is out, but then also Simons himself. I mean, his shooting guard eligibility really helps here. So I could see playing KPJ at point, Simons at shooting guard, Castle at guard.
All right. And then what about your Cavs? What about a little Garland, a little Donovan Mitchell? I'm not as interested in their opponents tonight, the Kings, but what do you think about the Cavs?
Yeah, happy Ty Jerome's playing. Don't see a ton from Cleveland from a DFS perspective. They're fully healthy. Price tags are up. Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. Donovan Mitchell, I really like the way he's been playing over the past couple weeks, starting to show his aggressiveness. Hasn't shot amazing, but just look at his fantasy scores. Like he's got multiple 50 pluses in the past couple weeks, and he wasn't doing that at all earlier in the year. He's getting ready for the playoffs. I could play him at any point right now, but I'm also nervous about the high-priced Cavs because they're locked in.
All right, let's kind of transition to small forward since that's where Devin Booker has some of his eligibility, depending on your DFS side of choice. Someone in chat asked about Tyus Jones. With Jones, there's just other options. Tough matchup there against New York. I'd rather go elsewhere. Plus, Beal is around as well. But how do you feel about Booker? I was looking at the unders on his PRAs today, just based on the matchup, by the way.
Yeah. I don't love Booker here. It's hard to really feel that confident in getting to any Suns these days. Again, he's always the guy that can put up a monster score, but he doesn't stand out for me, at least on this slate particularly.
All right. I want to remind everybody that you guys can get 7 days of free portfolio EV at any time if you have not used that promotion yet. That is available for all new users. And then the key thing that we have tonight is we have the new partner, NoVig. So this is a one of the pick'em sites, but it's the social media platform. So it also offers things like sides and totals. I'm going to drop the link in chat here. If you come in on this link, you will get a deposit match of $10 on your $100 deposit, but it will also allow you to use the Stokastic link join and get one single month of any sport for the Sims. So let me put that into chat. So it's called NoVig. Now, the interesting thing about this is because this is peer-to-peer wagering, they've taken the handle or the vig out of it with the way they, whoever posts is kind of paying it, etc. So someone's always paying the vig, but they're really not taking much compared to all of the other sites. So that is the advantage that we have there. This is also available in our sports wagering portfolio EV package. So if we were to, let me share this. Oops, I don't want to double share a screen here since I've got, what is it called? Playback up with that one. I better hack. This would be crossing the streams, to borrow a phrase from Ghostbusters here. If we look here, I bet we'll see something from NoVig. Oh, look, there you go, right from the jump. Aaron Gordon, 3-pointers, under 1.5, minus 142. That's got a positive expected value of almost 5%. That is an offer there by NoVig. And the other thing that's out there is somebody else has put out $2,600. So you can bet up to $2,600 or whomever else has placed that line. So it's one way with sportsbooks limiting people, this is a way that this can be avoided by going to the peer-to-peer market. I think we're going to see more and more of this till regulation gets there, but a lot of them are also built. This one, I don't think this one is, but they're built on the blockchain, which also allows for a little more freedom. So check that out. That's NoVig. Lindy's already there cleaning up on it, so we're going to want to get in the fun as well, but that link is there in the chat. All right, front court here, because we're about to get our 5:30 news updates trickling in. Jalen Brunson and Miles McBride, both questionable, are going to be game time decisions. Let me get over here to power forwards. What do we got? We have Kyle Kuzma standing out. Royce O'Neal, 4,200 on DraftKings, very helpful. You've got Obi Toppin, who's about a fantasy point per minute guy. He should see more minutes with Pascal Siakam out. We're not sure if he's going to start or not yet. Could be Mathurin, who came back in the last game, put up 23 points in 20 minutes off the bench. You have Karl Matkovic out there. Yves Missy is a center, but he's going to be stepping in because, of course, Kelly Olynyk is getting the night off here. What power forwards stand out for you? Because there aren't anybody from Portland, but now we're back to the Pelicans here, and potentially Kyle Kuzma.
Well, not even potentially. I mean, Kyle Kuzma for sure.
Oh.
He projects really well. It doesn't feel good. It never does. I mean, if you want to tell me you're going to fade Kuzma, I'm not going to argue with you, but he's got good positional. He's got good positionality. He's got a good tag. No Giannis, no Dame. I mean, 36 fantasy points at 6,400. He looks like a very strong play. Outside of him, I mean, Gary Trent, I talked about, he looks like a really strong small forward option. Weirdly enough, small forward might be better than power forward here with Trent, Kuzma, who's also power forward eligible, and then Colby Jones. He stands out as the highest leverage play on the slate, and he looks really good at 4,100. How do you see it?
Agreed on that. We also know that Anthony Simons is being ruled out, so we'll let that process through.
Portland is thin now, I feel like.
Yeah. Timani Kamara is available to play with his ankle issue, so that helps them a little bit. Delano Banton and his rising salary. Again, salary's kind of out the window tonight with some of our value that's just floating around everywhere. But yikes, we got lots of good stuff here. How do you feel about Kyle Filipowski at 7,300 now? I think he's like 60 something on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's a play. He's not a great play. I don't think he's a bad play. I mean, the tag is scary. Like, seeing that tag next to Kyle Filipowski seems weird, but his projection is good. His ownership isn't that high. His optimal percentage is right in line there. So I'm fine with it. I don't think he stands out one way or the other.
All right. We've got Keegan Murray officially out. Twin brother of Chris Murray. We'll see what the tools say about Chris Murray here with the Simons news. Dean Wade available to play. Let's look at our centers here. So Jokic 12-7 on both sides. He is going to be the priority, of course. We'll get the projections or the popularity updated here and see where he is for leverage. But I would be looking to start teams with him on both sites. Okongwu continues to see his salary increase. He looks good on FanDuel because you can play him at power forward as well. If we look on DraftKings, you've got Jabari Walker. That's going to start bubbling up here a little bit. Miles Turner, not feeling great about the odometer there. And then Şengün. Any thoughts on the pivot position?
Yeah, so do we skip small forward or what happened there?
We kind of covered it. So if you have anybody else, that's
because I feel like we skipped it, but then you asked me about power forward, but then I talked about small forwards, but then I didn't talk about power forward.
It's just multi-position eligibility.
Yeah, you're right. It's positionless basketball. All right. As far as center goes, I mean, I think Brook Lopez looks like the top option, which is weird. But again, no Giannis. He projects really well at 6K. 55% plus chance of being optimal, only in air quotes 40+% owned. Like, yeah, I'm gonna play Brook Lopez here. He's been good in these spots. So, him and KPJ and Trent, 3 priorities from and Kuzma. Like, and I never mind in these spots. It might be a little bit more difficult today because there's so much good value just loading up on a team like Milwaukee with both Giannis and Dame out and the tags on these guys not accounting for it. After Brook Lopez, I mean, Jokic is Jokic. Like, he's always going to project to be the top scoring option on the slate. His price tag is really high, and there's a bunch of other good mid-tier plays on this slate. So it's just a matter of how you want to allocate your lineup construction. For me, as of right now, I think I'm going to be more looking at Brook Lopez, Donovan Clingan. Those are 2 guys that really stand out. Clingan, he's not going to get like a huge usage bump with any guy being out, but the more guys that are out, the more he's going to do offensively. So
to go really with the more poor shooters that are going to be out there, which give him a chance to rebound. What did he have in that last game? 16 or 17 rebounds.
Yeah, he's a monster on the boards. He can do that at any given time. So him and Brook Lopez, I like a lot here. But again, like, it could be a slate where the 3K value starts to emerge, and then you just need Jokic. So, you got to be flexible. But as of right now, I think Clingan and Brook Lopez are my 2 favorites.
All right. Gosh, let's see. We should start getting some starting lineups. Wizards starting pool: Bub Carrington, AJ Johnson, Champagnie, and Sarr. The Atlanta Hawks are going with mostly their regulars, except Georges Niang is in. So you've got Young, Daniels, Risa Shea, Okongwu as the regs, and then Yang is in there. It doesn't really move the needle on any of those. With Keegan Murray out, we don't know who's going to start. But is that a 6 o'clock game? Your Cavs?
I think so, yeah.
Because the interesting question will be: Do they start Lyles or do they go with Malik Monk, the doctor of dunk.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. Juzang and Filipowski starting.
Yeah, projections suck on the weekend. No, projections are incredibly hard to do. At the weekend, it's like there's less beat writers carrying things of that nature. How do the Wizards not start smart in Boston? They don't respect the remember me aspect.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that one and say, why the hell wouldn't you start smart in this spot?
Yeah, you're going to play him for his 20 minutes. Doesn't matter if he's starting or coming off the bench. All right, Sacramento starting lineup. Keon Ellis, Zach Attack, DeMar DeRozan, Trey Lyles, and Sabonis. What is Trey Lyles?
I know you like yourself some Trey Lyles.
I know. But I don't like the matchup that he has.
Yeah, but he's cheap enough where it doesn't matter.
He is 3,400 on DK.
Mm-hmm.
Update that. He's good for about a fantasy point per minute, would be my guess. That will be an update that comes through soon. Niang. So let's take a look at Niang. Niang, probably around 20 fantasy points. Not a bad play. Path to blowout run or mop-up duty. I prefer saying mop-up duty for Atlanta. It's not a bad way to go. 3,200. What about Karis LeVert? I lean against that only because, he's a little more brittle and they're going to need him if they want to make their way out of the play-in tournament. They need him healthy. So I don't see him really, if they have the game in hand, playing more than his normal low 20s minutes.
Yeah, I guess he's a pivot. It's tricky now, though, because with the Simons, et cetera, news, like now, not only in my eyes are the Milwaukee guys like must plays, but at least a couple Portland guys are. Banton, Jabari Walker now really standing out at 3,500, 24 plus fantasy points. Looks really good in the tools. So between him and Banton, and we talked about Shaedon Sharpe and Klingon, I could see lineups like with all Milwaukee and Portland here. I could see lineups with like 3 Portland, 3 Milwaukee, Jokic, and another cheap guy. I think you're going to have a lot of Milwaukee and Portland tonight.
All right, we just got the ownership update. So I'm going to show that on the screen. This is for DK first. Porter, 90%. Jokic, half of all lineups. Banton, half of all lineups. Gary Trent, close to half. Young, Kuzma, Sharp, Klingon, Jabari Walker, Brooke Lopez, all around a third. Castle, O'Neal, Matkovic, and Toppin between 20 and 25%. So there is your top 20 players on DraftKings by popularity. Oh, we'll go to Yahoo, except we're not. Since they ignore their contests, we're going to ignore them. Let's get rid of the filter there because that's not good. FanDuel, we have KPJ, 80%. Trey Young, almost 50%. Sharp, Trent, Lopez, Kuzma, Okongwu, there's a name we didn't say on the last one, all around a third. Klingon, Castle, we didn't say on DraftKings, but Castle, Jokic, Derek White, new name there, Kamara, new name there. They're all on around a quarter, and Peyton Pritchard, Dyson Daniels. Remember, 3 points, 4 steals for the Great Barrier Thief. There's your top 20 on FanDuel. So aside from Jokic, who is your must play tonight?
Well, Jokic wasn't a must play for me, so
what?
Yeah. We talked about, man, like Klingon and Brooke Lopez. Do you listen to anything I say?
No,
I know.
No.
Now
Lofty taught me that. Lofty taught me that early.
I will say, since that comment by me that I like Klingon and Brooke Lopez, more value has just emerged. The more value that comes out, the more you just got to play Jokic, because Jokic is going to be the highest scorer on the slate, more than likely. So yeah, KPJ looks, you got to play KPJ. He is way over-owned, but He looks really strong to me. Banton, priority. Your boy, Gorgeous Nang, looks really good. Cavs legend, 3,200. He looks like maybe the best value play on the slate now. You talked about the Indiana guys, the New Orleans guys. This slate is, yeah, maybe you just play Jokic and then, because there's enough cheap value where some of it's going to get there. So, yeah, I guess you talked me into it and you didn't really say much, but Jokic priority now.
Look at that. Faulty logic. I got there. That'll teach me to never listen again.
There's just too much cheap value now. Like, because even if I don't love New Orleans or love, all the cheap Portland guys, there's enough of them where like some of them are going to get there, and Jokic is going to get there because it's Jokic.
Indeed. Who is going to be the surprise of the night? The scratch, the Ja Morant. Do you feel that coming, or do we have enough games going off here at 6 o'clock? Half the slate locks at 6.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's always an inevitability for NBA DFS this late in the season on a Sunday night. But I couldn't tell you who. I mean, I guess I'll just take a guess at any random player. But if I had an inclination, then I guess it wouldn't be too much of a surprise. I'm going to say,
got to be a Golden State Warrior.
Yeah. I don't even have a good one. I'd just be throwing something at the wall, hoping it'd stick. So I got nothing for you there.
All right. Boston Celtics starting lineup: Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, and the Unicornet, Luke Cornett. Pritchard continues to come off the bench here. Any thoughts about Cornett going against the depleted Washington front court, or is that kind of burning the Lopez, Jokic, etc. Center spot?
That's the big problem. He's not getting any ownership, so that would be the thing about him. But he's not cheap enough where I think he makes sense over like Lopez and Klingon. And if I'm not playing Lopez, I want those guys. Or not playing Jokic, I want those guys. Maybe a Freudian slip there, who knows? But I think Cornett looks good, and on a lot of slates, he'd be, not a priority, but a really good play. But on this one, he just is an afterthought for me.
All right. One last time before we go into the insanity moment, I'm going to drop the NoVig link in chat. You get a $10 deposit bonus on a $100 deposit. You've got the link there is in the chat. It's also in the YouTube description below. You could use the promo code STOK, STOK and the number 2. It's STOK and the number 2. Any of those ways, you come in on our link, and this will also get you the link join offer, which gets you your choice of 1 month of free single sport package for the Sims or Portfolio EV. So check that out. We also have NoVig Now in the filters on Portfolio EV. Spurs starting lineup: Paul, Castle, Bassel, Barnes, and Biyombo. Nothing crazy there. Portland, Banton, Sharp, Thibault. Go University of Washington Huskies. Kamara and Donovan Klingon. Anything curling your toes?
I mean, nothing that we didn't really expect here. So Banton, Sharp, Klingon, really strong plays. Thibault and Kamara aren't going to eat usage. So like those guys are in play because they're going to play minutes and they can be productive on a game-to-game basis. But Banton, Sharp, and Klingon, Banton being like the ultimate priority that you just got to play here.
All right. A couple good questions here. Staff McGrath says Pritchard or Chris Paul, they're the same price on FanDuel. So the Chris Paul has been playing more minutes than expected.
So
his one game where he didn't, I went through the popcorn machine and looked at these. The one game where he didn't was a blowout, and he just didn't play in the fourth quarter. But it looks like they're giving him kind of his second half minutes based upon the game, and having him out there as the experienced player around all of the younger talent. If it's, a game or a situation where they can kind of come back or get more high leverage. I mean, they're still losing, but get more high leverage experience. That seems to be how they're using him. With Pritchard, he's pretty much got last time I looked, I think he has the 6th man of the year locked up, but he's kind of the guy that will steer the ship the whole game against the Wizards. I would prefer to go with Pritchard, but you can sort of, that my supposition is that's why we're seeing Chris Paul play so much. I mean, he's going to be 40 at this next birthday, I believe. So it seems a little odd. Or he's building up a ton of goodwill, and he's just going to have fun playing there the next 2 years as the 12 minutes off the bench guy with that loaded lineup. So 1, 2, 3 Cabo.
Side note, I love how you called it the popcorn machine. Like it's an actual machine you're using.
It is. Chick Heard. He blah, 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 buttered it. All right. Another good question's come up a couple times. Walker for Portland, Yang or Lyles. I would kind of lean Yang in that one. I know the end's probably silent.
So, man, Lyles looks good, but it's definitely not Lyles, which tells you about how good the other two look.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Niang because he's 3,200, but man, Walker and Niang both look really good, and playing both of them, like this is why Jokic now, like because you play Niang, you play Walker, you play Banton and KPJ, you play Jokic, and then you fill out around it. I think that makes a lot of sense here, especially in like a cash game build.
Yep. Chat asking about Towns. There's too many other centers that are better options. Could he put it down and score 50 fantasy points? Sure, we're projecting him for 44, but just doesn't seem like a good spot. Any Ty Jerome? I would kind of lean towards no on that since he's missed so many games. What is your local take? Boots on the ground.
Definitely no. I mean, he's not cheap. Hasn't played in a minute. I'm good on that. There's so many good plays on this slate. Like, I don't see any reason to play him.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's go to the contest generator here. Since we have 13 minutes, I'm just going to build my FanDuel lineups here on the screen. So people that have not seen this in action, since it is the weekend, you guys can see it real quick. This is the FanDuel version of our simulators. Chris Albers, of course, comes in with the favorite GPP plays at each position, and he'd like a nuke of the night. So we can do this while it's running. I think Jokic, I think we can agree on. Stefan Cass. I'm just going to get that name wrong because I'm drinking Coke. I didn't have enough coffee made, my cold brew, and I just don't like Coke, and I'm not getting the caffeine jolt I want. Do you think that KPJ is a must play at that hefty ownership?
I do. Yeah, I mean, the ownership is that high for a reason. Like his tag, it's just 1,500 too cheap here in this spot. Like, so okay. Yeah, I mean, it's
who do you like in the middle positions? I think it's going to be Castle. Do you throw in a Trae Young? Is it the Dyson Daniels? What else do you want to give there for Chris Albers? I believe he plays on DraftKings.
I think in the new optimal build construction we're talking about with like a bunch of value in Jokic, you're going to have to forego like a Castle and or a Sharp. So I think Banton is the shooting guard you want. He's not like cheap anymore, but he's way too cheap for this spot he's in tonight and his role. So he's a shooting guard for me.
All right. Who's your wild card player? Since we need to give him one more.
I'm going to go with a guy we have not mentioned one time. I think that's partly due to the small forward and power forward fiasco where we didn't really talk about them. I'm going to say Royce O'Neal, 4,200.
4,200 on DraftKings.
Yeah, again, like I don't know how much I really want to play him now that we have a bunch of really good value, but he still looks good and he's not going to be very high owned. So Royce O'Neal, wild card du jour.
Remember when he was just like the continual get minutes but not really do anything on Utah because he would just focus on defense?
I feel like he's still that guy.
He is, but he gets a little more offense, though. I did bet the unders courtesy of Stokastic on his points at 11.5 and 10.5 today. All right, so I make 150 lineups here on FanDuel. Ooh, I'm getting Banton on 74. I'm getting Thibault on 40%. That's because of the 3 points for steals. Okongwu's coming in nicely. What I'm not seeing is Porter. So Kevin Porter, does that feel crazy to go only 6% when the field's going to be at 70%? Probably
6%.
Yeah.
I mean,
that feels really, really dangerous and low. And Jokic significantly lower. So I don't like how that's coming out. So this is where the IKB, the I know better, comes in.
yeah, I would personally want more KPJ, but I guess to take it full circle here, like, yeah, I personally think KPJ is a must play on this slate, and I think he looks like the best of the value plays, even though we have a lot of them. But to counter that, there are a lot of good value plays on this slate. So, like, if you fancy Banton, Jabari Walker, and Niang, like, the goal isn't just to play the best value plays on any slate. It's to get the most fantasy points. So, like, I could see lineups now that don't have KPJ, especially at what you mentioned a couple minutes ago, really inflated ownership. So, like, I mean, yeah, if he's really going to be 90% owned on a slate where, like, again, there's a bunch of really good value plays, yeah, it starts to be more appealing to get away from him. Not going to lie.
Yeah, this is crazy. I gave him a 90% ROI boost just so you guys can kind of see what happens. And it all depends what else is out there. So if we look at that, that's still not moving him off this 7%.
You know what it is? There's enough guy, in my opinion, I mean, this could be wrong, but there's enough guys, even though he projects really well, obviously, there's enough guys that project well that are coming in with positive leverage as opposed to his insanely negative leverage. Like, it's not even like he's negatively leveraged. I mean, like, that's something is off with those numbers. Like, I don't think he is going to end up being 90% owned, or he's going to have a higher chance of being optimal. In my eyes, like, something's not adding up. But with how it looks right now, getting away from him is probably the way to look at it in GPPs. Because at the end of the day, it's still an ownership game we're playing.
Yeah, I'm going to run that again. I'm going to put this back on the screen because I don't know if I've got so many tabs open. It feels like it may have been stuck in like clearing cache, etc. because I have too damn many tabs open. All right, but now that makes it close that I may not get my lineups in time. That may not have been the smartest call. How many lineups are you building tonight?
Just one.
Just one. Is it created? Has it been curated and crafted?
It has been curated, crafted, and
who is the last man in?
It's still subject to change. I'll say that.
With 8 minutes to go,
you gotta be flexible, as we talk about. The last guy in for me now, guy I mentioned earlier. We've talked about him a couple times. Again, deciding between the last value piece, it's Jabari Walker for me.
Okay. This is gonna come down to the wire. This is living on the edge. Just need a little Aerosmith music in the background, just like they do. Which I showed Truckers. Isn't that the show? Is that show still on even? I think that was the one that used to do Living on the Edge. Did you ever watch that or Dangerous Deadliest Catch?
I've seen Deadliest Catch, but I'm not. It's not like a genre I'm that into. Truckers, what's that? Catch
was so good. Ice Road Truckers was the.
Oh yeah, yes, I know about that.
Yeah, they would a variety of places.
So dangerous.
Yeah, half those guys. Well, you probably needed to have less than 100 IQ to do what they were doing, but some of those guys were a little challenged, I thought. All right, let's see what this clean run did here.
You got to be it takes a different type of individual to like be a semi trucker and like drive those trucks let alone on the ice like that.
All right, so something was off on my display. So I've got more than 10% of Porter, but not much. I think you are correct. I literally have 10% by the time I did that second filter. All right. Well, you know what? Sometimes you're just not gonna get all the players that you want, Matt. Because I want Jokic. I want to be above on Jokic. That is sort of my non-negotiable.
I get it. I do feel like, just looking at the tools a little bit, if you're playing lineups with, Jokic, KP, I mean, that's NBA though. Like, there's no reason to get away from guys because of their ownership. Maybe your last one or two guys in, you make a pivot. But I do see no reason to get away from Jokic, even though he's overowned too. Like, if you're playing Jokic and KPJ, you're eating a lot of ownership, but you still got 6 spots to get different. So I get it.
All right. So that last one, when I put my thumb on the scale, it really got me. I'm up to 60% Porter. So I'm okay with that. So I'm going to get these uploaded here. 5 minutes, kick off a DraftKings run. Which contest are you playing in tonight? Are you playing in the big one?
Yeah, just playing one lineup.
Contest generator. There we go. Upload to FanDuel. Is it going to work? Yes. See, that the other key was I didn't play, or Yahoo isn't starting at this time. So let's go back here to chat and see what they've been up to, angrily cursing me for. Will EMac get his lineups in? Yes, that's what happens. Any update on Jose Alvarado? No, still dealing with that calf issue. Here's so I don't know that he's going to play. A couple 2v2s here. Sharp and Kuzma, or Trey and Thibault, single entry on DraftKings.
Sharp and Kuzma, or what was the second one?
Trey and Matisse Thibault.
Sharp and Kuzma for me, pretty easily.
Last guy in choosing on FanDuel from. Wait, why am I blanking on who's Dylan? Dylan, Risachet, Hunter, Royce, or Jabari. Why am I blanking on? Oh, Dylan Brooks. I don't want Dylan Brooks in this game. He's going to mostly be playing defense, focus. Hunter, not really interested in DeAndre Hunter. I'm trying to think of a reason not to play Jabari. I would go with Jabari.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Don't love any of those options though.
Yeah, not Risachet. Sometimes he gets in-game rest. Oh shit! Do I really only have 2 minutes? Okay.
2 minutes left.
And
I will let. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say sometimes he gets in-game rest. They aren't resting him outright, but by missing games. But the rookie wall it's really a thing.
And I was going to say I will reprieve you for a minute if you need to finish your lineups, because we got a special watcher watching the show right now. My 2.5-year-old, my almost 3-year-old is watching. So, hi, baby girl. Yeah, so we got a special watcher.
Oh, that's good. When's the birthday?
It is this month, the 25th.
What? Oh, we're almost twins. Mine's the 30th.
Oh, that would be something. I mean, that would be something. Be special, but you guys are close enough.
Yes. And yeah, and we're almost the same age. So in the grand scheme of the universe, we are similarly aged.
Yeah, this is very true. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
All right, lineups are up. Do I like them? Whatever. It's only money. I will get playback set up here so we can have some fun there. I dropped an S-bomb? But she doesn't understand all the words yet.
Yeah, I don't.
He's good.
Yeah, she's heard worse. I'll just say that.
Well, I was gonna say, she's got Daddy Matty B here. Yeah, the B stands for blue.
We try to keep it PG, but sometimes things get spicy, so we turn it up a notch. We do the earmuffs.
Earmuffs, kids. Earmuffs. All right. Well, to special viewer, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully we get to see you again. And if I don't see you before your birthday, happy birthday coming up there. You guys can find Matt on Twitter at Fantasy Tips Matt. You can find me at EMac DFS. Of course, it is Stokastic_COM. And don't forget, in the YouTube description below us here, we have the NoVig new site that we are partnering with. If you come in through the link in this YouTube description here, it will get you, if you follow the other rules, it will get you 1 month of Stokastic single sport sims. With that, gamers, good luck.